Alright everyone, welcome back to Multiversus. Now tonight we're going to be making a Finn breakdown and guide. I saw someone request this, so here we are. Now, I like Finn. I wasn't a massive fan of him when I first got into Multiversus, but then I started using him a bit more and he really did grow on me. Now, Finn, I wouldn't say Finn is complicated, but he takes a bit more skill to play because you have to work around a couple mechanics that he has, in addition to worrying about Finn coming under the assassin class, which means he takes 14% more damage from all sources. So not only do you have to be more careful about getting hit, but you have to manage a couple of mechanics with him that you wouldn't have to with other characters. Now, okay, Finn's neutral light attack on the ground is he charges up a just a regular sword swipe. Now, I should mention this while I'm here because I completely forgot, but Finn doesn't charge his attacks like any other character. He only builds charge on his attacks when he moves while charging them. So if you want to gain the maximum amount of efficiency with your attacks, if you're charging them, you have to move with him. Now this goes for all of his charged light attacks on the ground. This is his down light attack on the ground. As you can see, it charges up when he moves. And this is quite a powerful attack if you hit the stab, in my opinion, and it's charged up. It's quite decent. It's not his best move, but it's quite decent at launching people, which is really, really beneficial. But yes, again, you have to move to charge Finn's attacks. Okay. Now, Finn's side light on the ground is he charges up a sword stab. Now this, you can let go and he'll do like just a simple thrust. But if you keep pressing square while holding on the side, you can do a cheeky little combo. You don't even have to charge it up if you don't want to. If you're just trying to get a little bit of damage in and you don't have time to charge, you can just press it straight away and just not worry about the charge. You miss out on a bit of damage, but you get 2 more hits, so it's up to you if it's worth it or not. Because it doesn't, you get it anyway, but it doesn't, because as you can see there, it doesn't launch him very far. Now, Finn's up attack on the ground, as you can see, you charge it still by moving, is he does an upward swing attack, which if they're not so low on damage, not so high on damage I should say, it's really easy for Finn to combo into it with an aerial attack, so it's worth keeping that in mind. Now, Finn's neutral on the ground, as you can see, he has a second meter underneath his dodge meter and his damage meter, which is his neutral special attack. And this is a high five. Now, if he high fives an enemy, this is a very, very big KO damage attack. It sends enemies flying at full charge. And this attack builds up, as you can see, just by Finn moving around the stage. So you don't have to worry about actually charging the attack. By moving around, Finn builds up charge on that attack. If you high five an ally, you give them, I think you give them a movement and attack speed buff. I could be wrong on that, but I believe that you give them that buff. If I'm wrong on that, you do give them a buff of some kind, so forgive me if I'm mistaken. Now, Finn's signature on the ground to the side is just a simple little charge. Now, honestly, I don't really see much use for this attack. It doesn't have a very big range. It doesn't hit very hard or send enemies very far. And, well, actually, it sends enemies... It's at an annoying point. It sends enemies just far enough. That way they're out of any combos that you could do with it. So I think it's more of a clearing attack for Finn. If enemies are on you, you can kind of push them off a little bit. Helps in that regard. Finn's up signature on the ground is he does his bag swing. This is the same as in the air. He does a bag swing. And he hits the enemies a couple times. And at the end of it, he causes them to drop, I think, 5 coins. Now, Finn's down signature on the ground affects his other mechanic, which every time he hits an enemy, they drop coins. Now, every coin that an enemy drops is worth 100 coins, I believe. And I'll show you guys here now. Finn's down signature is you get to choose several items that you want. I say several, 3. You can choose the boots, which give you and your team a movement speed buff. And I believe if you choose this again, it gives you a stronger buff. As you can see there, speed times 2 as opposed to 1. But obviously it does get more expensive. Now the metal booty cheek protectors they give Finn and his teammate a, I believe it's a projectile shield while he's charging his attacks, as you can see there. So it gives him a shield while he's charging his attacks, which is quite helpful, if you're going up against someone like Batman, who loves to abuse the Batarang. You have a shield there to protect you, so you can still get the hit. Now, Finn's BMO, I can't actually afford it right now. Let me just get a couple more coins out of Shaggy. Here we go. Finn's BMO, BMO appears on the field, and if you do the same input, you do a BMO chop instead of opening your shop again, or your bag. Now, in my personal experience, this BMO chop is incredibly strong. I don't believe it hits overly hard, maybe for 10 damage. I could be wrong on that. But it sends the enemies flying, as you can see there. It's a very powerful move if you can hit it. But as you saw, BMO has a bit of a delay, so it gives enemies a bit of time to move out of the way. But if you do manage to hit it, you're going to do some crazy damage, which is awesome. Now, have I done everything on the ground? I believe I have. Now, Finn's neutral, his neutral light attack in the air is just a simple kick. It's not overly powerful. It doesn't send the enemy very far, but it sends Finn forward after them if he kicks them with it. As you can see by the cooldown there, there is a cooldown on that ability, so you can't really abuse it, unlike Arya's up signature. Now, that can combo into any one of attacks once his cooldown is up. Finn's light side in the air is he just does a simple 2/ combo, but it's actually quite powerful on enemies that are at high damage, purely because at least while in a real game, enemies typically, if you have them off the stage, they like to dodge into you. A lot of enemies do. It's a bad habit that a lot of people have. They tend to dodge into your opponent to try dodge through them. You can do this with that, but this second follow-up swing, the second swing is a lot harder and hits harder than the first one. So yeah, but that's a good attack. It has 2 follow-up attacks, and there's a bit of a delay, which means if an enemy tries to dodge into you after getting knocked back by the first one, there's more of a chance of you hitting them, purely because of that delay. Now, Finn's up light in the air is he does an overhand punch. This is quite good, in my opinion. It's just a nice little punch, but it combos well, or at least it is the end of a combo, or potential combos with some of Finn's attacks. It's not overly powerful, but it's just more damage, as you guys know. Damage is damage, and you should always take it when you can get it. Now, Finn's down light in the air is he does a downward swing like this. Now, if the enemy is high enough in terms of their damage meter, you can knock them down, and just like that where I was saying that, guys, you can hit them there, and if they're not too high on damage meter, you can then combo into another attack with Finn, which is his up light. Or, alternatively, I believe you could jump as well if they're going too high, so you can still hit the combo, or you can do one of Finn's side attacks. Or, if you would like, you can try combo it into Finn's up signature. All of which are very viable options, quite good in my opinion. Now, Finn's neutral in the air is still the high five, his neutral signature. Finn's neutral in the air, his down signature in the air is he throws a gem. Now, as you saw then, when Finn throws this gem, he can teleport to it and does a hit. Quite powerful for escaping, as well as if you get knocked off the edge, you have a gem out there. Also very good for killing yourself, as you can see. There is a range on how far you can teleport, I believe. I don't know how big it is, but it's there. So you guys will just keep an eye on that and just be mindful of it, that there is a range on how far you can teleport to it. But it is useful in some situations. As I said, Finn's up signature in the air is the same as his signature up on the ground, except he rises a little bit with this one. So it can be useful if you're being edge guarded and you're trying to get up, you need some extra security. You could potentially grab an enemy in a hit while also getting yourself back onto stage. Now, Finn's signature in the air is kind of like his signature on the ground to the side as well. He does a swipe, and there is a sweet spot for this, the game says. I haven't really worked out what that means or where it is, but it's an alright attack. It has a bit of a charge up, so it gives enemies a bit of time to react. It's not overly powerful, but it's by no means bad. By no means a bad attack. Now, I believe that's all of Finn's moves, so I'll go over perks with you guys now. Perks with Finn. Now, Finn's a horizontal attacker. A lot of his attacks go horizontal, but some also go vertical. His signature perks, as you can see here, going out of business, you unlock this at level 8. All the items in Finn's shop are discounted by 200 gold for 10 seconds after Finn's ally is rung out. The discount is permanent after Finn reaches 100 damage. This is quite a decent perk in my opinion. The problem with it is Finn being an assassin means he gets hit harder than probably any teammate you're going to rock with unless they're also playing assassin, or you're being overly careful with Finn. So chances are, there's a likely chance that you could get wrung out first. And if you get wrung out, all your gold that you had accumulated gets reset back to 300. So be wary of that. Feel free to rock this perk, but you will have to play a bit more passive to actually stay alive to get use out of it. On the house is he generates a free gem after connecting a fully charged ground attack. Now this is, it's I don't know. I wouldn't say it's more useful than his other signature perk, but it's probably more usable in the sense that you're probably going to be charging a lot of ground attacks fully. So, especially on low HP enemies, or high damage enemies, I should say. So you're going to be getting a couple of these, which means you're going to have a lot more movement with Finn. So it's going to enable you to not get hit more. Also to do an extra bit of damage because you do attack when you teleport to the gem. I personally would say I would rock on the house purely because it enables you to do a bit more damage. This is a decent perk as well. Going out of business is not bad by any means, but in my opinion, you're not going to get the most amount of use out of it purely because Finn is a lot squishier than every other champion or character in the game apart from Harley Quinn, Arya, and himself. So I would be very careful if you want to rock that, but if you are good at dodging or you're looking to play a bit more passive, going out of business might be the perk for you. So that way you can get to BMO, try get a BMO shot, hopefully get an early knockout. Now, for his other perks, or his normal perks I should say, there's a lot of options with Finn. Okay, there's a lot of options with every character, but as you guys can see, a lot of his attacks are on the ground, especially because he charges them. So attacks on the ground is very, very good. You could also rock Snowball Effect. You could rock that on any champion, or character I should say, in my opinion. Finn doesn't really put any enemies in hit stun, so I would not say Paint to Target is a good choice. I would say, I personally would probably rock, let me just have a gaze here. Ability cooldowns. Finn does not have a lot of cooldowns, so cooldown abilities probably aren't going to be the best, but just because he doesn't have a lot. It also depends on who you're playing with. I mean, if you're playing with someone like Jake, who rarely puts Ignite on except for one attack, as opposed to someone like Harley Quinn, who can put Ignite on a lot easier, you might change up your perks as well if you're looking to play a bit more team-based. For example, hit them while they're down. Obviously, you're hitting debuffed enemies. Harley Quinn debuffs enemies a bit easier. You're going to get more damage, as opposed to using, maybe another perk you might like to use. Finn doesn't use projectiles, so I would say Wildcat Brawler. He gets this perk from leveling up, I believe. Wildcat Brawler is probably one of his best perks. Now, you could either rock Percussive Punch, Power, or Up, and a Slay, or all three of them if you would like. But purely because Finn is really squishy, you could rock Kryptonian Skin just to negate him and make him a bit tankier. Just to negate the 14% damage down to a 10%. You could cop this, but again, this is useful on any character in my opinion. Even if there's better perks you could rock, you can't go wrong with this. Honestly, I would say that I would probably rock 2 offensive perks with Finn. And Honestly, maybe even you could take an increased movement speed. I would say use Speed Force Assist and some combination of two offensive perks. The reason for this is because defense, it's not entirely useful on Finn purely because he is a bit squishier. So you're losing value by trying to make him tankier because he inherently is weaker just because of the fact that he is an assassin. So I would say take advantage of the fact that you're an assassin. Don't bother on defensive perks. You could rock one utility. For example, I would go with Speed Force Assist so you get more movement speed. So that way you can, as you guys know, Finn charges his attacks by moving. So you can move along, you can move quicker, which means you can get to your enemies quicker, give them less time to react as well. I would definitely rock Wildcat Brawler purely because you're charging attacks on the ground a lot. So that's going to be a good perk for Finn just to buff his overall damage output. And I would say either take your pick between Percussive Punch Power or Up, Up, and a Slay. Probably Percussive Punch Power I would go with. I think Finn is a horizontal champion, but he does have a couple attacks that knock vertical, obviously. But I would say Percussive Punch Power, Wildcat Brawler, and Speed Force Assist would be my go-to picks for Finn. That's my personal opinion. Now guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and remember, you can rock whatever perks you want to rock as long as it is good for you and you like it and it works for you. You do it. This is just my recommendations and my opinions. So thank you guys for tuning in. Feel free to check out my other videos as well. I stream pretty much every day over at twitch.tv/WelshGooch. I stream Multiversus as well as a variety of other games. But thank you guys for tuning in. The support means the world. 36 subscribers. Wow, I know it's not a lot, but we're getting there. So thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.